Hello guys, today I am going to teach you how to do the country selection matrix. Let's start with a couple of terms that you have to know, concepts that are important that you have clear for the country selection. First of all, what is the product or service that you are going to internationalize? What are their characteristics? What are the competitive advantage that they have? You have to know what makes your product different from the others product or services that are offered in the market. The second thing that is important to know is who are the people that you are going to offer the service and the product in the international market. What are the preferences? What do they like? You have to know their profile. The third element that is important to know is the entry mode. How you are going to enter to that country, to the foreign country. Are you going to do direct exports, foreign direct investment, or are you going to use a franchise or a joint venture? Why and what are their advantages or disadvantages of that entry mode? The fourth element that you have to take into account are the countries that you are going to select. You have to do a cluster. Let me explain a little bit what is a cluster. A cluster is a group of countries with similar characteristics. For example, I am going to internationalize ice cream made of exotic fruit, and my target market are vegetarian people. So the idea of the selection or the arguments for the selection of the countries that belong to the cluster are first, that the countries have big population of vegetarian people. Second, that they have high consumption of fruit, because my ice creams are made of fruit. And also that the people have like healthy habits, eating habits, or lifestyles, like very healthy trends in their lives. Okay, after we selected and the countries, the 10 countries, you can select more, but for this academic exercise, we are just going to work with 10. We are going to do some mathematical equation, and we are going to do some analysis of the information, the figures from each variable. And at the end, we are going to rank them. What does it mean that we are going to rank them? They are going to appear from the highest score, that is going to be 1, to the lowest 1, that is going to be 10. Okay, in this moment, you have had read the article Distance Still Matters by Pankaj Jamawat, and in this moment you know that there are 4 distances that he mentioned in the article. First, the cultural distance. The second is the administrative and political distance. The third is the geographic distance. And the fourth is the economic distance. For the first metrics that we are going to do, we are going to use the administrative and political, the geographic, and the economic, because are the ones that we can do calculation and use figures from different databases. The cultural distance analysis we are going to do after we select the first 3 countries. Okay, as you can see in this slide, there are different variables that we can include in each distance. For example, in the administrative and political, we can include the ease of doing business, the startup procedures, the time required to start a business, the cost of a start a business, the country risk values, the time to export, the perception of the corruption, and you can select more depending on the service and products that you are going to internationalize. Okay, in the geographic distance, you can include elements like the weather, like the internet access, the in general, the roads, the infrastructure of the countries, depending also of the entry mode that you are going to use. Finally, in the economic distance, you can include elements like the GDP. I suggest that better you use the per capita, because it's like more, it's a clearer idea how much people earn and what is the income of people in the country, and is not a general aspect of the country. Also, how is the foreign direct investment, the cost of export. These are just some examples. You are going to decide what are the elements and the variables that you are going to include. In this moment, I'm going to teach you how to get the information, the variables, from this database that is Global Edge. These are the steps. I'm going to show you how to do it since the beginning. This is the Global Edge web page. You have to go to Tools and Data. Then you have to go to Tips. After that, you have to log in. I already did it. And you are going to see these variables and these classifications. So if you enter in each one, so you can select all the ones that you want, and in this site you can see what are the variables that you have selected. Let's check one more, and after that you have like 5 variables that you are going to use. You are going to do next. After that, you are going to select the countries that you have in the cluster. So I'm going to select some of the countries at random for the exercise. After that, you have to give click, and here you have the years of the information that this database offers you. So my suggestion is that please select the last 5 years, because you are going to see what is the information that is complete for all the countries and what is the most recent. So then you are going to give click. This is a summary of the information that you just selected. You are going to give click in standard, and then you are going to get the results. It's going to appear Excel file, and after that also you are going to get the resources. The information in the results are the data and the numbers that belong to each variable. The information and the data that you are going to find in the sources are the numbers, the numbers that are that belong to each variable, the name, the source where Global Edge take this information from, the year, and also the measurement. So I already did this exercise, so let me check that I have this information. So I already have the results, and when we open the results, we are going to get this information with, well, these numbers are difficult to read. So what we are going to do is a process. That is the next slide. You have to replace the commas for the semicolon and replace the dots for the commas. I'm going to show you how to do this with this information. So you are going to go and look and replace. So as I told you, you are going to replace the comma for the semicolon. You're going to give replace. Then you are going to replace the dots for the commas. You're going to replace all of them. You are going to close it. Then you are going to select the first column. And the idea is that we are going to pass this information, these numbers, into a columns. We're going to organize that information. So we're going to go to datos, data, texto in columnas or in columns. Then we are going to verify that is in delimited, delimitados. Siguiente. Then we are going to put punto y coma, semicolon, and it's going to appear in columns. And then we are going to give next, general, and end. So this is the way that the information is going to appear. Now, as you notice, we have some numbers and some years, and as you see from the same variable, we have 3 columns because we have 3 years, and the database gave us 3 years of information. What happened with the latest year, that is 2012? Well, if you notice, there are two cells that don't have information, so we are going to skip, we are going to erase that one because we need the latest but also the complete, the one that is complete, that has the complete information. For example, for 2011, for United Kingdom, I don't have the information. I am going to erase it too, and I am going to work with the 2010. We are going to see what is the name of this variable. I'm going to go to sources, and we are going to verify what is the name. Let me see what is the number that is here. I'm going to look it in sources. Okay, I'm going to check this number. What is the name of the variable? And so I am going to see, I'm going to copy all the information, and I'm going to put that information in my matrix. Okay, I can't add a comment with the information, and this information is useful because we can see the measurement, for example, that is in dollars, and also the name, that I'm going to copy the name here in order to recognize the variable. I'm going to put it beautiful, and also sometimes it gives me the information what is the variable about, in order to understand a little bit better how can I use that variable. So the idea is that I'm going to do the same procedure with all the variables, that I'm going to see if I have the information complete and which is the latest. I am only going to leave the latest one. Okay, so for the next variable I have 2010. So just that one, I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to complete it with the information, with the name, with the source, etc. So for this variable I have 3 years. So I am going to see what is the latest and what is the one that is the most complete. So it's 2013. I'm going to erase the other two. Well, I'm going to repeat the process with all the variables, and what I have to have at the end is this. I am going to show you that I grouped the variables in groups according to the distance. So I have the administrative and political distance, and I include all the variables there that belong to the political administrative, also the economic distance, and also I have the geographic distance. As you notice, for example, here I have the information, what is the source of the name of the source, where I got the information, the ease of doing business, the description, if you notice, and in this cell I have just the name and the measure and the year too. So I organize the variables, and then I leave a column for the index. I'm going to teach you how to do the index. So let's come back to our presentation, and this is the process how to transform the data into columns in an organized way. Okay, so what is important here when you have the data? First, you have to check for the most updated data. Also, you have to check that the numbers are coherent. Why? I'm going to show an example of information that is not correct. For example, this one. If you are looking for a percentage, or for example, in this case, a percentage, or for per capita, what can you see here, guys? Well, these numbers are like round numbers, are complete numbers that all of them ends with 000 and are millions and thousands. So that is strange because the information usually is not that exact. Another thing that you have to see is that in this case, you don't have a figure, yeah, for example, for Spain. So when you are going to do the index, so the index is going to be negative, so that is going to affect the calculation that you are doing. Okay. Another thing is that you have to check that all the rows are with figures. If you have one that is not complete, you have to skip that, or you have to erase it and see what is the previous year and select the one that is complete for all the countries. And also, as I told you and as I show you in the Excel, you have to include the source, the definition, the extra information about each variable, and that information has to be in a comment in the cell that is the variable. When we already have all the figures, all the data in the Excel in columns for all the countries and the variable that we selected, now we are going to convert or transform this data into the same scale. What does it mean? I have, for example, the GDP that is in dollars, and also I have the percentage or variable that is in percentage, and also I have the days of how to create or how create a company. So these are going to be in days. The idea is that we have all the data, all the numbers in the same scale. So we are going to transform them into an index number. Let's check what are the elements of the equation, of the first equation. Okay, so first of all, we are going to have the number that is going to be the index. We are going to do a calculation, that is the initial number, that is the number to convert, that is the first one. Then we are going to have the minimum of the complete of the 10 countries. Then we are going to have the range, that is the maximum minus the minimum, all these times 99, and finally plus 1. So when I use this equation, when I have variables where I need the equation, the variables are the big numbers. It means, for example, when I need that the population is big, when I need the internet access is high, or the imports are high, or the GDP per capita is high. So I use this equation. The second equation has almost the same elements. So in the first part, we have the element that we are going, the number that we are going to transform, that is the one belonging to the country. But now we don't have the minimum, we are going to have the maximum instead. Okay, then we are going to have not the range, but we are going to have the minimum number from those numbers from the 10 countries minus the maximum. Okay, and finally we are going to multiply that information with for like 99 plus 1. Okay, as I told you, it's important that you remember that it's not the maximum and it's not the range, it's the minimum minus the maximum. If not, it's going to be negative, and the idea is that all the index number are from 1 to 100, no negative numbers, no more than 100. When I use this equation, well, this equation is used when I need that for my analysis, when it's better when the small number, when I have small numbers. For example, ease of doing business. For me, if the number is 1, it's better if the number is 7. Okay, because that means that it is going to be easier in a country that has the number 1 instead of having the number 7. For example, the cost of doing business. If the price is lower, it's better for me because it's going to be less expensive. The cost of export is the same, and the time to export in days, for example, if it takes less days, it's going to be better for my transactions. Okay, so we are going to have or we are going to do a small example in order to understand what do you have to do. So first of all, we have here the idea is that we are going to do an example in which I need my customer needs to be the youngest person, but with the highest weight in this example. Okay, so the first thing that we have to do is to calculate the minimum of both elements, of both variables, the ones for the age, that is here, okay, that is 35, and the one for the weight, that is 57. Then we are going to calculate also the maximum, and in the maximum we are going to, that is going to be 70, and is going to be 82 for the weight. So first of all, we are going to work with the variable age. I need, for this exercise is better the youngest person. For that reason, it means the lowest number. For that reason, I am going to use the second equation. Okay, so we are going to do the example with Valentina. She is 60 years. So in the first position, we are going to have 64. That is the number that I want to modify, that I want to transform into an index number. Then it's going to be the maximum number in the information that I have, the data that I have. Then I'm going to have the minimum number minus the maximum, that is going to be minus 35. This calculation is going to be multiplied by 99 and then plus 1. So let's take a couple of minutes to do that calculation in your calculator or yourself, please. Okay, the result is 18. So 18 is the number, is the index number for Valentina in the age. We are going to do another one with Victoria, that is 35 years. As I told you, 35 is in this first position, that is the number that I'm going to change, minus the maximum, over minus 35, that is the minimum, minus the maximum, all those numbers, times 99, and the result is going to be plus 1. The result is 100. And the last example with the age is going to be with Maria, that is 70 years. So we have 70, that is the number that I'm going to change, and in this case, minus 70, that is the highest number, the biggest number in this case. Okay, so what is the result? The result is 1. Okay, so as you notice, I calculate all the index number that you see here. But what happened? What do you have to analyze here? Well, the number that is the youngest person, it has the highest score, has the highest index, and the person that is the oldest has the lowest index. Okay, so that is one of the things that I can analyze, I can see when I am doing my matrix in order to see if it is good, the calculation, or not. We are going to do the weight, but in this case, what happened? I need the heaviest person, so I'm going to use the second equation, in which I have the minimum and the range, that is the maximum minus the minimum. Now we are going to do the exercise with Valentina, that is that her weight is 82 kilograms. So 82 is the number that we are going to transform into an index number, minus 57, that is the minimum number, and then over the range, that is 82 minus 57, maximum minus the minimum, equals 25. So take 2 seconds to do the calculation, and the result is 100. The second example is Diana, that is 57 kilograms, that is the number that we are going to modify, that is the first one, minus the minimum, over the range, times 99 plus 1. So the result is 1. And finally, we are going to do the exercise with Justine, that is 80 kilograms. 80 is the number that we are going to modify minus the minimum over the range times 99 plus 1 equals 92. So as you can see here, we have the 100 index is for the heaviest person, the person that has more weight, and the number 1 is the person that has the lowest weight. Okay. After that, we are going to do the calculation of the overall index. What is the overall index? Is an average of all the index that I have. In this case, I have 2 index, so I'm going to do the calculation of 18, for example. 18 times 100, I'm going to divide it in 2 because we have 2 index, and that is going to be the result. Okay. For the we are going to see this in Excel with the formula. This is my matrix, the one that I did, and at the end I have the overall index. So as you can see, here are all the indexes that I calculated with both equation, the first and the second, that I already explained to you. And if I count all of them, I have 13. So what I'm doing is that I am doing an addition, and I am divided over 13. That is the number of index that I have. And this is the same for all of them. What about the overall rank? I mean, I'm going to put a little bit bigger. And the idea is that we are going to rank these 10 numbers, these 10 countries. What is going to be in the first position, in the second, and in the third? I already did it. I used the function hierarquía.equiv, and then I applied that function, and as a result, I found that Canada was in the first place, then was United States, and then United Kingdom. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit backward because I would like to show you how to transform these country risk index ratings into numbers and then into an index. Okay, so this index uses letters and numbers, and the idea is that we are going to give them to each classification, to each element, a number. So I gave them from 1 to 8, and then I applied a function. Maybe I'm going to show you. I applied a function that is a conditional, and says that if the cell, that in this case is B3, is equal to A1, please put the number 1. And I did all the conditional, all the conditions according to the numbers that I gave them. Okay, so I just drag from here, and I drag here. I'm going to like change, and the function give the number. So we are going to verify. For B is 5, so yes, that's right, I gave the number 5. So now we are going to apply it exactly the same, the equation, as we did with the other numbers. Be careful with the parentheses because it's important. Remember that in Excel the formula is done first. The formula that is solved is the inner one to the outer one. Okay, well, now let's talk about the cultural matrix. That is the second matrix that you have to do, and this matrix is going to be done only with the first 3 countries that were the result of the first analysis. Okay, so here in this matrix you can include the Hofstede elements, the power distance, the indulgence, the individualism versus collectivism, all the information that you can get from the countries, the consumer habits, the behavior, the beliefs, the important symbols, social norms, rituals, and languages, if they apply into the analysis that you are going to do. Let me show you my matrix, my cultural matrix. So if you remember, we have Canada, United States, and in the third place what was United Kingdom. So I have what I did was that I went to the web page of Gear Hofstede, and I brought the information. I didn't copy and paste, but I did a summary of the most important ideas of each element. So masculinity, uncertainty, avoidance. Also, I talk about pragmatism, language, ethical origins, beliefs, religion, customer behavior, and I have other that you can include. For example, the free trade agreements that are important to know, the management negotiation style, the size of the country, the borders, or the weather. In this case, for me, it's important the weather. Remember that I'm going to sell ice creams. So, for example, Canada has a disadvantage because the climate is lower and is colder than in the United States and than in the United Kingdom. Okay, so well, the idea is that after you analyze the cultural part, you are going to have like more elements with this information to take a decision. You don't have to select the number one in the ranking or the number two. You can select whatever country that you want. Is up to you and depends on the analysis, the cultural analysis that you did. Okay, finally, these are some of the sources that you can check in order to see the information, more variables, more cultural information. Let's go to this page. I have here the portal de exportaciones from Colombia. Let's go to herramientas para el exportador, and I'm going to show you how important is to know these web pages that help me to or give me information for my analysis. Okay, so here I have estadísticas de exportaciones colombianas, but what I'm going to enter is going to be in condiciones de acceso. I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to enter as a student, as you can see here. I'm going to choose the country that I am going to read the information, look for the information. In this case is Canada because I have Canada in my ranking. And if you notice here, I'm going to put it a little bit bigger. You can see that we have information about the tariffs, aranceles, origin norms, or information about the commercial or trade agreements in general, and the information about phytosanitary laws that exist. In this part also I have like a small information about everything. For example, for me, for my ice cream example, I have to see the global standards of phytosanitary regulation that exist in Canada if I am going to go there. So if I click here, it's going to go to the web page, and I can read all the information. Another web page that I can enter and I can use for my analysis, my cultural and for my variable analysis, is the World Fact Book that is in the references that are in the last slide. And I select the country. In this case, I'm going to select Canada again because it's one of the three countries that I have. And if you notice here, I have a bunch of information, a lot of information about the country, the government, the economy, people and society, if they have ethnic groups, about the languages, etc. So this web page is very useful when you are going to analyze and when you need extra information from the countries. And finally, I would like to show you this page that is more related to the culture, and also give me a very nice information Let me, I'm going to select if it is Canada, if I find Canada, or the country, for example, France. You can see here that they give you the information, language in France. They talk about more about the society, the cuisine, the etiquette, the customs, and the way that they do business. Okay, so this is also a very useful web page that you can see. Okay, so guys, these are the references. The article "Distance Still Matters" from Pakan Jemawat, and this is another article that I suggest if you have time to read it. That is the one that I took the equation from Cabot Hill. Okay, so thank you guys. I hope that you now have a better idea of how to create your country selection matrix. Okay, thank you so much.